Well, good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning, folks, whatever time we happen to be showing the show. This is your old friend Bill Crane from the award-winning Bill Crane Report Show in a little different role. We're going to talk about memories in Norfolk. What triggered this is we found or fell heir to a bunch of scrapbooks covering elder affairs, the building of the senior center, and different events that the elders have been involved in and different town events. Well, no one quite seemed to know what to do with these scrapbooks, so we took ownership of them, and then we argued amongst ourselves what the devil we're going to do with them. Too good to throw out. A lot of history, a lot of nice stuff in there. I talked to the library, and they were very positive that if we put them into a nice format, they'd be happy to take them and put them into the historical room, the Norfolk History Room up there. So in looking at these, and I shall introduce now Norma Shrewin, the former director of the Senior Center, and Thelma Ravinsky from the Historical Society. Commission, yes.
We are under the selectmen. We don't have our society that can raise money and be independent.
Right.
Okay.
Good. Well, folks ought to be under somebody. Anyway, whoops. So anyway, in looking at these books and perusing them, lots and lots of memories came back. So we thought we'd talk about some of the subjects in these books, and we'll show you some of the pictures in them and all. But I guess let's talk, shall we, about the seniors in Norfolk.
Okay.
Before we had a senior center.
Okay.
We weren't really organized. We were just like a herd of turtles.
Well, we got organized in 1972, and that's our first scrapbook. And I don't know who kept them. I think it was Edith Severinsen, but I'm not sure. But she did the greatest job. 1972 to 1982, 10 years. And it's all newspaper clippings. And in 1972, the COA was formed. Eleanor Pearson and Betty Ella Mascort went to the selectmen and said, we ought to have a council on aging. So they appointed 6 people, and one of them was Mr. Burrows.
Charles Burrows, yeah.
And it's the whole history is in here. And I just thought, you just can't throw out history.
Yeah.
I mean, this is when it started, who started it, some of the programs, even pictures of people. And as you can see, they did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, her name was Edith Shorey. She married the fellow that had the
It wasn't Edith
ring.
Erickson?
No.
Oh.
But I was secretary briefly for her, and we had meetings at the Grange Hall. That's where we used to have our lunch.
That's where we first got together as a group.
Yes, yes.
And we also, a little bit before 82, we were having lunches at the school. They provided lunches.
Yes.
And our bus took them.
The Yellow Peril.
Yeah, took them. And actually their bus took them all over town, that anybody, wherever you wanted to go.
Yeah.
It took them to town functions like voting, and even took them when Hillcrest Village was dedicated. It took them up there. It took them to the lunches at the school. We had a senior citizen club. It took them, and it was amazing. And it's all in these books. And I would love to see. I mean, maybe the older people in town know all these people, but maybe some of the younger people.
Well, they're relatives.
Yeah.
A lot. Some of them
Yeah, and maybe
have relatives.
a project for a school child would be looking through and seeing
Yeah.
how things started in the people in town and what they did, and they were very close and they were all very involved in.
Well, you know, when something's new, getting started, like when St. Jude's was started, everybody was gung-ho.
Oh,
They
yeah.
all wanted to do something because they wanted that building. And this is what happens with any organization. People get so interested. But unfortunately, that a lot of them back off. But we have people that are so dedicated, thank God, and they want to go on and do something positive, and there we have wonderful times. And,
Now, so then we also, a little bit later on, began meeting at the Federated Church.
Well, right from the beginning,
Okay.
the Federated Church offered us free. They have been very good to us right from the beginning, and they held programs, and Betty L. Mascot should run little things like the flu clinics, and
Yeah.
that have little programs now and then, usually on a Wednesday at the church, and that's how
They were an important part of us being able to band together.
they certainly were.
Yeah.
Well, I have an article that said in 1973 a drop-in center was held at the Federated Church on Union Street. Coffee and tea was served each week. Hot lunches were served at the Centennial School, and the bus that carried was named that Yellow
Yeah.
Peril. The groundbreaking in 1974 ceremonies were held by the Housing Authority at Hillcrest. And that was
And there's
the
pictures in
beginning.
this book of Hillcrest
Yeah.
and some of our seniors senior citizens who were involved.
You know, I think Hillcrest has been a success. It's been a good thing for the town. But, you know what, I'm probably being too critical, because Norfolk did not have orderly growth. It all of a sudden exploded.
1980.
Yeah,
well,
but the point I was going to make is it's too bad we didn't lay it out with an eye to the future,
right.
so that we could put more units in there.
Yeah. And with room for equipment, they didn't have much of a cellar there. My husband was an electrician for the town, one of the helpers, and it was trouble to get underneath there. And people had a lot of stuff that I'm sure they could have wished they had more room to store it. And of course, the building itself wasn't insulated that much, so that I know my mother lived there, and you could hear people walking upstairs and talking.
Yeah.
And so forth.
Yeah.
And that was not.
But it was low budget. It was also financed by the state.
Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah.
So
They were-
you know what happens when you deal with the low bidder.
And I
But
know
still, it's, I think, very functional.
we need a bigger one now.
Oh no, we
yes.
do, absolutely.
we need more.
But I got involved in this. I worked all my life, and I retired at 65, and was drafted, and agreed to become the president of the Friends Group, and Jane Wolfgang, who was one of the more remarkable people I've ever met in my life.
Very good friends to
And
everybody.
very, very devout lady, but still, she talked to you like she was a Marine veteran or something. she bumped into me up to the post office. I've told the story before, but for those that haven't heard it, it's cute. Jane said, "Bill, I want to talk to you." I said, "What have I done now, you know?" "Sure, what's up, Jane?" "Well, it's like this, Bill. We have the Friends organization, and we're all ladies on it. We need a man to be president. And we need somebody with half a brain, and I think you may qualify."
Yeah.
What a beauty.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, she was a marvelous person.
Yeah.
Really was. She did a lot for
Yeah.
the seniors and
Yeah.
the
Oh,
the
senior
knitting
center. She
club
was an
and-
outreach
yeah.
worker
Yeah.
at the senior
And
center.
that was the best thing that happened to me because, heck, since 2005, I've been involved. Now, you guys have got the history before then. When I look at this stuff, I don't know some of these people here or the events that took place. That's why something like this, we're going to record this, and people will appreciate more.
People will go up, hopefully.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I have 8 of these books.
Yes.
And this is only 2 that I
2 of them.
brought.
Yeah.
But it goes all the way up almost to present
Yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah.
And also, I have pictures. Pictures galore.
I know.
Of programs and
Now,
it's just-
that brings up a good point. Like, I didn't get involved in this until 2005, like I said, or 2006. I think it's back there. There's lots of pictures of people in here that I don't know. And there's pictures that you guys don't know either. We've had them out up to the senior center and left them there and said, if you know who these people are, please identify them for us. You know, we probably need to do that again and actually publicize it. I think we just did it on Trivia Day, didn't we? Was that it? Yeah.
I think so.
So we probably ought to get in the Silver Set Gazette that we're going to pick a day and do that.
Thelma has gone through most of them.
Yeah.
And she has, and if Thelma doesn't know them, nobody else does.
Well,
No, I wouldn't
yeah,
say that.
but Thelma,
I wouldn't, because I wasn't involved. When I went to work for the town, it was 1977. Eleanor Pearson was the town clerk and the tax collector. It was a dual job. And I worked there and had met many people. But however, I went to Walpole High, and you know that the children didn't have a senior high school. They didn't have a high school, and so Norfolk a lot of them came to Walpole,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I got to meet them. So when I was able to publish the first Norfolk storybook, I knew a lot of the people that I was going to interview because I knew that their children or whatever. And Norfolk was such a small town. It was like Mayberry.
Well, the
Very
Ravinsky
Italian.
family, when we moved in, took us. They accepted us, and that's how I got to know so many people.
Yeah.
They were very, I don't know, it was
Well,
different.
there was enough of them.
Yeah.
There was 12
and
of them.
I come from the Sullivan clan.
And there was a lot.
Down Sullivan's Corner,
About
down
50.
by the cemetery. So we have roots here in town, but still there's pictures in here that we don't know.
Absolutely.
So I really think that that's a great idea I had.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill. and we should do that. Let's get it in the Silver Set Gazette, though. We're going to pick a day, and we're going to have photo day.
Okay,
And
so
we'll
people look
ask
through.
old timers to come in and see if they recognize anybody.
A lot of the articles, though, have the people's names.
Yeah.
Most of them, the names are right in.
But you got a pretty good bunch of loose pictures, too, right?
Those pictures,
Yeah.
I left, they were still at the senior center. The pictures in this book are the ones that
Puzzling?
some of
Oh,
them
okay,
are
yeah.
near the end. Some of the people,
Yeah.
I don't know who
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah, so that'll be a good book to have out.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we could probably take the pages out of it and lay the things on
Yeah,
some of
so
the
people
long
won't
tables.
have to flip
Yeah,
it out.
Yeah,
That would
because
be a
otherwise.
fun time.
Yeah. We'll ask them if they want to do it
Yeah.
down there. Yeah. It's just, I had to choose from the thousands of pictures,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
and I took a little bit of everything and put it
Everything,
in.
stuff in.
And the others I left at the senior center, and I told them down there, anyone can take what they want.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
if you know if you have a family member, or it's a friend, or you know someone who,
Yeah.
you know, it belongs family, just bring it to them and take them.
Yeah.
And they still have them.
You know, when you see something like this kind of stuff, it would have been a shame to throw this out.
Oh, I couldn't throw
No,
it out.
I know that. This is from your reign of terror up to the senior center. It's great stuff. And someday when you got nothing to do and all day to do it, folks, you may want to go up to the library once we get them over there. Sit down and take a look at some of this stuff. It's interesting. So then, let's go
You
back
have to have a lot of time to do this,
Yeah.
because I spent most of last winter, we had the scrapbooks, would get them in January or February, and it was just fascinating. I couldn't put them down reading, you know, and looking at the pictures, and oh, I remember that one. Oh, I wonder who that is, you know?
Well, do you remember Byron Hamilton, the Hamilton family? At age 91, he was creating kites and making his own
There's pictures of him in there.
and using tissue paper and whittling pieces of wood and gluing the decorations on with supermarket flyers and that for the tail. Now that at 91 years old, and he
And there's pictures of him in the
Yeah,
scrapbook.
yeah, I
There are.
remember the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of the folks that are in their 90s, we ought to give a shout out to Bucky Kalu, who is on the sick list and has been hospitalized for a bit, and the doctors have put him back together again, and he sounds great over the phone.
Well, that's
and
Another 90 years.
another
I
couple
don't
of
know,
years.
but
another
he's
couple-
amazing, because here I am at his age, and I'm not very mobile, but that guy, he better than me.
Still
and
driving?
He's still driving, and not only that, he doesn't have a cane he didn't have a cane or anything, and it's amazing.
When he was well, he went every day to the senior center and exercised.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference.
He had a couple of camps up in Maine. He'd drive up to Maine,
Yes.
in his 90s.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, Bucky's been sick. And get well quick, Buck. We miss you. And also, thank you for storing these books for us until we were able to figure out what the devil to do with them. Because he was the guardian of these for a couple of years. So, get well, Buck. All right, enough of that.
And thank you.
And thank you. Yeah. So, we were at the Federated Church. And we were functioning over there as sort of a group and all.
One day a week.
One day a week. Then how did we eventually get towards the idea of let's build a senior center?
I think it was always in somebody's mind.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
You know, that we should do this. But the board of COA decided that maybe we should start looking for land and build. And it was Chris Shaw's husband who was an assessor. Was she on an assessor?
No, but he was on a board.
He was on a board.
I know.
And he found this piece of
zoning
land.
board, maybe?
He found this piece
Yes,
of
it
land.
could have possibly
with
have
the
been the
zoning.
zoning bylaws,
And-
yeah. I believe
And
so.
he found a piece of town-owned land. And it was funny because this land was owned by a senior at one time. And she sold it to the town when the town put the recycle center in. So in case they ever wanted to expand, they could. And so he, brought it. And we went to the town to have it transferred to the COA. And so that's what happened. And we started building, and everybody the whole board. And some people, like Debbie Owen, she never got enough credit, I don't think, for what she did. But she was there nights till 7 o'clock. Her husband would come and say, Debbie, supper's been ready for a while. You better get home. And, you know,
Wow.
she did a lot of
Yeah.
work. I still talk to her. They moved to the Cape.
Yeah.
And I still correspond with her. And
She's one of the unsung heroes.
she certainly was. And there were so many others.
Yeah.
Like Jeannie Groff's husband there, Charlie.
Charlie.
He did all the landscaping. I mean, there was so many people that really,
Pitched in.
yeah, and they just did it.
Marty
And they
Moko.
didn't have their hand out looking to get paid.
No, they
Marty
just did it.
all
used to-
volunteer.
I think he used to raffle off, or he had given things that we could make money on. I believe he did some help.
Who was
for
this, please?
Marty Mokel,
Oh.
Natalie
yeah.
Mokel's husband.
He was another one that did so much.
Yeah,
Little things.
there were a lot of people.
Yeah.
That,
There was, I
of
think there
course-
was more town spirit then than there is today.
yes, I know.
Well, everybody knew each other, and
Yeah.
it was like, was
We were a community then.
yeah.
Now we're
yeah,
a bunch of houses. So we're at the Federated Church.
yeah.
We approach the COA, or the COA approaches us, or whatever, and we get the ball rolling.
Yes, we do. But you know, the COA and the Friends were all one, like. They weren't separate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I was director, I mean, they were my right-hand people.
Sure.
Sometimes I had money to give back to the town at the end of the year because the Friends paid for so much.
Wow.
They did. I can't thank them enough for everything. The curtains they bought the furniture. They
Yeah,
paid
because
for,
let's go back to the building of the structure itself. The town put up
The shop.
an empty shell
yes.
and walked away from it and
the
said, it's all
Friends-
yours.
And the Friends took it out.
We,
Took care.
we paid for everything. Everything.
And we
They
used-
still do.
And we used local people.
Yes.
We used all local people,
Yeah.
and I think it made a difference.
Oh, it made a big
they
difference.
Cared. They
They
cared.
care.
Like the Hamlins did all the
Yeah.
cabinets.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Beautiful work.
And they didn't know who did the reception desk and that, and I told them it was Mr. Carpenter, a really old gentleman. He lived in Plainville, and he came down and measured. He had that, and he's got carving in the front. I don't know if you've noticed
He
the
was a
carving.
carpenter, wasn't he?
Oh, yes. And he did the two
Carpenter.
benches, and a lot of
Oh.
stuff came from the hospital,
Pondville
Southwood
Hospital.
Hospital.
Yes.
Bookcases,
Southwood, yeah.
all the dishes and the
Yeah.
pots and pans. We went in there and took whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
And we did. We took the
How
s-
fortunate we were,
the
yeah.
refrigerator, the freezer. And there was a place in Franklin that CBS, and they're still there, I do believe. And then one of Clara White's sons or grandsons or somebody stored all this equipment from
Yeah.
Southwood Hospital until we were ready to use it. And then when we brought it to the senior center, and as it came in, we'll say, no, we can't use it. CBS took it. And they gave us money for it. And like it was a 2-bay sink. Well, you need a 3-bay sink now. And so things like that. And you know, we can't thank Southwood enough either for
I know.
everything.
Well, a lot of people pitched in.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. That was,
And they
that,
didn't charge us that much either.
well, a lot of people gave us discounts and, yeah, well, and forget about that.
I know.
You don't owe me anything for that.
I know.
And, yeah.
Oh, it's
And
a
that's-
donation.
Yeah, that's great, you know? There's an awful lot of,
Well, if we had to pay all these people, we wouldn't have.
But
No.
we had a
Winner.
lot of
we'd
fun.
still have the shell up there, half done.
Yep,
Yeah. So it really worked out well.
it did.
So we shouldn't forget these people. That's why you've got all these.
That's
scrapbooks.
why I
'Cause
can't
a lot
throw
of those people
this
were
out.
involved. They were really dedicated, and we were fortunate that they were.
Even back in 1972, they wanted their own place, and they worked towards
Yeah.
it. And we moved in 2002.
Oh yeah, because they made quilts to
raffle off. Oh,
I won
you
one.
won one. I know that. I thought, of all people.
But I helped to make some
Yep.
of them with Carmen Prentice. Take a little machine, bring it to the center, and that was from was it from Mrs. Barrows? The machine she got.
I think
It was
so.
a little, yeah. I have one like hers, and oh my gosh, we had all kinds of ways to try to raise money.
Raise money and cake bakes.
Oh yes.
I can remember one of the cake bakes that we used to go to the community, Holmes's Community Day every
yes.
year, and we'd have
We
a
have a
table.
little stand.
And we'd
Yeah.
sell baked goods.
And
Made
you
a lot.
also sell them at the town meeting.
Yeah. And
Oh yes.
but you know what happened
did.
once? We were at Holmes's, the hottest day you'd ever. All the cakes and stuff started to melt. We had a mess.
remember,
Well, that's the last year we did that. Then
Yeah.
after that, we had a woman that walked around, and you donated it in an old-fashioned outfit.
I don't remember that. I remember the outfit, but
Yeah, and you
didn't
donated
know
the
it.
skirt, the
I didn't
hoop
remember.
skirt underneath.
Oh yeah, maybe
hoop.
yeah. Maybe,
I still have it. I couldn't. I guess my house isn't cluttery, but things like that I just couldn't throw out.
Yeah.
I've got the hoop skirt. I've got the skirt. If anyone wants to dress up like an older person, it's got pockets in it, and we used it at Holmes's and filled the pockets with candy, and let the children pick candy.
Was that Rose Cadeau?
No.
Who was it?
Edith. Now I can't. Who was the president of the Friends? Ruthie. Ruthie wore it.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And she gave out, we got extra newsletters, and to the parents, we gave our newsletters out. And the kids could pick candy from the pockets. And I still have it with the old hat. And they wore their own blouse underneath. I don't have a blouse, but I have the skirt and the hoop. And if anyone wants to borrow it for anything,
They were so generous, the Holmes, of course. I was with the Historical Commission, and we used to stay in the barn there. And that's where all their antiques and it was like a museum in that barn, and people could come in to see what was there, and it was wonderful. Quite a few years. In fact, when they began that, I went to the meetings in the garage. My son poured the floor for the barn himself. It was amazing. But we had meetings there to get the thing going, and gosh, that was so long ago. I don't even remember the year. But all these years that we've been able to go there, and what they do for our town. And you know, the train rides in the fall for the Halloween. Yeah, and there were a lot of people that came, antique car deal, all these, yeah. And they are having their another one in June.
Community Day.
Yeah, pretty soon.
Hold on to those memories, and we'll roll them out next time.
Okay.
Folks, thanks for tuning in, and watch for our show. We'll have it on again soon.
Take care.
See you later.
Bye.